Yes, hello, welcome to Ivan Che Innocent One here on YouTube. Onyan subscribe, yeah, subscribe and be part of this family. Makacho, we are growing, we are now 28K. Join the family and let's grow together. It is an intellectual community. We serve you with dispassionate political and social economic analysis. Give you clarity about here, the state of affairs, the state play, the machinery of governance, no how ɛyɛ nneɛma sɛ bɛyɛ wo nso as a citizen, as a voter no wobɛnya a clearer and a picture skill understanding of happiness in your own country na atumi aboa wo ama woatumi atoto wo nneɛma na wate governance na sɛ politics ɛmma mmɛyɛ sɛ ɛyɛ nkurɔfokuo bi deɛ na mmom you are part of it, you live it, you understand it, you can also make contribution at any point in time. That is why we are here. There are a number of issues that fly within this week, and I think Agradaa the High Court, Circuit Court, a sentence to 15 years imprisonment in hard labor. And just 15 years hard labor. You may sympathize with her, but Nema, because on this particular matter, I'm not going to express my opinion on it. I'm just informing you by way of information. Say, Agradaa has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment in hard labor. And yes, 15 years work like a hard labor assigned to home as to whether it is fair, unfair, whatever. I say, but that is the news in town. To see Amenoka saying. Main issue Amenoka has to do with what is happening in the court. And 7 Supreme Court judges and after go through parliamentary vetting, a pass the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and I swear 7 Supreme Court judges to the Supreme Court. And you know what is happening at the Supreme Court, the back and forth with the CJ, whole lot. There were a lot of discussions and arguments surrounding this whole 7 new appointment. Some people were with the views considering the recent tension brew around the judiciary. The appointment of this 7 whole thing, 7 judges, was going to create some kind of saying a system. So there is certain attempt to also balance the court, but on the other side, the nature of your judiciary and the fact is alusu that kind of trust and confidence in the eyes of the people. Now, there are many who believe that these additions will also go and also balance this whole thing. I bet infuse certain trust and confidence in the judiciary. So it's back and forth, but the whole thing is that these 7 judges, have gone through vetting our parliament. I'm a parliament at Jomatum. And fast forward, and they've been sworn in the Supreme Court bench, and so and going forward, beyond who said these judges be a part of. But there is a message that the president gave them. A catch almost a rope now, almost share. There be a catch us up on going we need the editorial, and I friend sa rope no ne a human as a phone me Google Mukomuno. It's not a mark of an office. Namum is a call to duty, said they should serve with wisdom. Akajo said in dispensing justice, one thing you can never take away, a nyansa. And over the years, that is the kind of thing Ghanaians have been questioning, because how come and a ruling through Supreme Court to bar the ordinary person only baby at law school dying quite crowd that to say I deal with your more kind nyansa be any yet. Now, on my impose our Ghana for so Oko can I say, hey, ya contempt and whole lot into Yama Ghana for a hotosone or felony GS or more judiciary tum my ebe very effective. A month for Benya hotosono, Sanya mano in the last 8 years in the a blow off anyhow. So it's a way of try to reintroduce this trust and confidence in this institution. Sabaya Ghana for once again, because Bakacho said in dispensing justice, it's not just about sitting in the court and pronouncing judgment and giving ruling. No, that is the easiest part of it. The most important part in dispensing justice, you get the citizenry, to believe, have hope, and even when they disagree, they still trust the judgment and the instinct of whoever that dispenses that particular justice, because they know, sir, the justice was dispensed at the altar of impartiality, at the altar of fairness, at the altar of transparency, at the altar of political neutrality. And all these elements are not there, and you think I am a judge, the law is at my bosom, so I can do anything. Over dispensing justice in the way na behu sabi sa nyansa nka ho Ghana for the and over the years, that is what we've suffered. We saw certain judicial arrogance, certain aura of saying arrogance and incompetence be a etofa judiciary no emma amanfo enya hotoso ene opepa to accept the court. And back and forth, Mekacho say suspended Chief Justice Tokornor a time na some de call court na or has a court no be bought and some na koso ewo committee no asue na atuagu na yen jante the process na judges no mo tia konwia no so no kwa yam pam binim mfiri so, because in her view no ofiri say judges ne bi wo ha omo and deserve class on betna panel no so asam ne yebotugu ye emane lusu ye Supreme Court ye verdict by na 5-0 ebia wadwen say that issue na kwakoda there be yakoda sorry ya the Chief Justice a file fresh process fresh our High Court seeking your friend is saying certain reliefs now all seeking is a court no and making sure seconds unstop it. Your friend is saying committee no adwuma na omo ye no on declare said the adwuma na omo di no aye unconstitutional again. In some na course no human right has been infringed, because processes and documents are involved in this whole process, this semi-adjudicatory process na course no onye onim, and for that matter no and several other relief are all seeking. So as some not the call Supreme Court the ruling by Amadou Tanko JSC me kind of ruling no in details actually some outlines, and I'll come a Facebook page Ivan Che Innocent one me serialize it some portions of the ruling me free say Ghana for also be at sa ruling no we move beyond it and we file fresh processes our High Court are seeking to stop the whole process. So what do you say Tokornor ajan tokwana apart aside say obey a press conference ke kan nsem nyina wie no was signed the assem for akwakodan court enti na no betia the AG, and so a file represented by the Deputy Attorney General, and so a file fresh we are seeking to quash those relief now Chief Justice is seeking, because according to Attorney General no or say in some na maame no ade akọ court foforo biema o bisa court no say yenyima no no yensem hunu, because in their view no in some na maame no kan nyina no already have been addressed in the earlier ruling na eba ya 5-0 no all the contention na what raising in the fresh suit no and the relief she's seeking. These matters now have been addressed already by the earlier judgment regarding the relief and not seeking. So according to the Attorney General, no, it doesn't make sense. Say asama ye dear we ye bua for and some na okay can what sa petition na ya boa to agu and then obasia kwakutwa hwamba atam sa asam na yi bia frame de bia hyehyem de akwa lower court akwa say court na asem, because the all ye nyina is to just drag the process say be ya enkoso na on delay the process na say ma me no wa asem bia kan committee na tena se nchirechiremu bia wo bia na onko chirechirem na committee no make a decision based on the evidence that is available before, but using frivolous and vexatious court processes in those injunction options now, wanna praying the court to say you don't stop the process, we should quash the process because you think the arrival our president Dibenya, the establishment of the premier facie in this particular instances, President breachy procedures and processes as outlined in there, because by culture there is no single document out there that regularizes how this whole process must be carried out. And again, or since a president breached this process based on what and a wujina swaka. And again, she's also saying the premier facia ruling now and as establishment of it, Council of State. A jina swa or more established no onyanya copy meaning say Council of State DSM. Council of State, the Constitution says should review. It is nowhere say yes a Council of State enter report and they should issue document or whatever. So where Constitution or you're silent on all these things. My culture said there are no processes. So in the establishment of the premier facie, all that they are supposed to do is to submit their report to the president, and the president will act on the report. And yet adjudicatory body, omunko di asem. Na waka say omu ruling na yamfa mawonko kan bi na wonti ase na waka koyiwa no. All that they say is a petition na ba no, omu free substance wom, a carry merit, and for that matter, no, a committee should be set up. Na committee ni na juma. So the whole adjudicatory process will begin at the committee level. And your Council of State, because Council of State, your judges, your lawyers, but the Constitution says that they should just look at it and determine whether there is merit in the matter or not. Some merit in Nima, or more advise the president, not on what some merit woman, the president should go ahead and set up a committee. It is at the committee level, and assembly that is says, Obibeka say a quasi judicial committee. And I say, Yamu. Rule no sana kwakwaya in that particular process a semi-judicial process, and for that matter no won't be near them without listening to the Chief Justice. That is why my culture says per the dictates of the principles of natural justice, the Chief Justice must be heard, and that opportunity, that right, has been safeguarded and guaranteed. I don't think a woman invitation or the committee no there no. You can go with your lawyer, questions bia will be and whoever you want to questions bia sabaya the issues can be addressed in a semi-judicial fashion bia no kreba bede bia you have to go and do it. But to say premier facie ruling it's not a ruling, it's not a adjudicatory process and I am out ruling. It's a determination based on discretion by assessing the fact and the merit in the matter. The Constitution and can be said there should be a ruling on it as a submitted president. No, they write what they write is an opinion in the form of a report to the president based on in-depth review whether these things meet a threshold or not. That is all that matter, because now the Amodema President Akufo-Addo oka say nyina so obi anuma waba to aguno that particular report no because the Tokornor omode kokoma na asiam fankan komano. Did she take the president to court? So you see, this whole thing I have frivolous, it's vexatious, and it's a desperate attempt or more just to stall this whole process. But I think the earlier we resolve this Chief Justice conundrum, the better for all of us. So able to move on to the next chapter, because the judiciary isn't the only arm of government or the only institution. Ghana must work, Ghana must ride, and there are several reforms. For me, I think as a carry out in our constitution, and even the judiciary nankasa, the court system nankasa, we need to. And Charles McCarthy and I agree with him. The lower court in the the sentencing powers in the more. For instance, this Agradaa case here, echoes back and forth. Me woman no meaning the oil. I have on several occasions spoken against the name I echoes or more advertisement in this name. But I can sit here and say 15 years. Sentencing in this particular regard, it seems too heavy. So it looks as if the lower court, when it comes to sentencing, as soon as because the law gives them that particular room, your money boom, 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 boom. Some discretion in it, sometimes, what the two are saying now, now they're because obitimi will be quantum rekeke na ya sentence because the law will always give a range. Crime biano judge won't be more with him, but it gives you a room. For instance, Agradaa case ya more can one saying defrauding under false pretense. Say I think the ages range from 1 day to is it 25 years or 29 years thereabout. So it gives you wide range. So based on the judge's discretion, he can decide to give you 2 days. He can decide to give you 20 years. He can decide to give you 15 years. I think that these are some of the things that we need to look at in our laws, making sure that the lower court will be curtailed. So when it comes to this higher sentencing, and I agree with Charles McCarthy, what he wrote, said, at least there must be a ceiling. Say case, a big case, and who said nipa no deserve a bigger way. Let's take it to the higher court. Say by the processes will be thorough. Until nipa no film na or spend 15 years in prison. Now you say yes, a proper procedure, because we go to the lower court now sometimes and the processes in that for no, quite bizarre. Very bizarre. Sometimes some people even go to court without representation and as a for but yet they will sentence you better. Now your jail will be yes, what in contom repair 10 years, your jail will be 15 years. The people are just throwing the sentences here and there. What can I say? Your proper commonsensical analysis and I will mirror what is comparatively happening in other jurisdictions and how they handle some of these cases here. You could see clearly, sir, there are a lot of problems within our judiciary. I think we need to sit down and over the years, say these are some of the obvious realities that we need to avail our mind to and address them. But very often, we say black man when you power, not being Jimmy and Sabi Nyansa and Kahunti, or free say on one. The very things they are supposed to use these powers to do just to influence positively on the life of people. No, na ye de nam na ye di nsem hunu ebi na ye chief justice ya suspended in the unse ne her as a chief justice, she is raising your friend is saying very your friend is saying or raising concerns about the procedural errors, the constitutional officer infractions, and some unfairness be a cause I am infringing on her human right. But this is a person I want to know the head of the judiciary. What can I say? I must add my way in a brand new chief justice. She could have called a process to be emotional and by addressing all these things, but she never until a braba betono and a way about people will push you say I would need credibility, and for me that's my major concern. So I think that we say time has come for us to look widely your constitution, your court system, your judiciary, your parliament, the presidency, everywhere, state institutions. We need to put them under the microscope, do a proper research, and see how a bit more streamline na atimia sync with modern practices. Sabaya Ghana, so no, I'm for better key serious, and that is it for you. Thank you very much for your time. I catch you on subscribe and be part of this family.